right, there we go. Welcome to the Russell Journal. I am your host, Russ, and you're watching from 10 to a million. So I tried to do some stuff for you guys this week. Just going to start out with sort of giving you a little orientation. You can see this bar up above my head. This is going to track kind of my goals as far as like what I want to do as far as getting from 10 to $1 million. Over here, there is supposed to be... over here, you're supposed to be able to see the balance on the other side of that arrow, and then I kind of put that arrow roughly where we are profit-wise. But I will go ahead and show you what the balance is anyway, because I got that in the slideshow already. So not really a big deal. You can see from last week, we took a little bit of a hit from our 230 down to 271. Now, this afternoon, I traded some Shiba Inu coin and made a few dollars, about $3 or $4 higher than that. But yeah, that's kind of been the journey so far. Really trying to figure out what market direction to expect for next week. One of the things that you really need to keep in mind is that it's still a market. It's still a traded market. No matter what the fundamentals are, the traders are always going to behave like traders, and you can't fault them for that. When you're trading, consistency is sort of your bitch. All right. You've basically got the choice to be consistent or, and that's it, So, with all of that sort of being said, really looking at, I can't really put a fix on exactly what it is that the traders are going to do next week. Trying to figure that out has been a bit of the bane of my existence. On one side, we look at the major indexes, and we've moved up 2 standard deviations. Or if you're on a chart and you want to know what 2 standard deviations look like, put on the indicator called the Bollinger Band, and based around and it's going to give you 3 lines. The middle one is your mean or your median, like the middle sort of price. 2 up is the top line, and 2 down is the bottom line. I can hear somebody. Give me a second. Oh, sorry, I got this thing on that's bugging me. All right. Anyway, so with these Bollinger Bands, honestly, it'd probably be easier if I just show you what I mean. Let me do this. All right. Let me share this with you. Okay, so I was looking at Lowe's. They're reporting, or Home Depot's reporting. Lowe's and Home Depot are reporting. All right, so I'm on the daily chart with IWM. Let's do one that's more relative to you. You're going to be probably more concerned about like what SPY is doing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of the garbage I put on here. So we clean it up a bunch, okay? So this is a daily chart. Each one of these red or green bars indicates price action over an entire day, all right? If we put on the Bollinger Bands, you can see that there's a top line, a middle line, and a bottom line, okay? These 2 lines are basically what they call a standard deviation, and I can't explain to you what a standard deviation is. I know what it is, but I don't know the vocabulary in order to explain it to you. I'm still kind of figuring it out. All right. You can see that we came down, we broke through the bottom one a little bit, but then we immediately came back up. Okay. Now we got this top one, and we've had 3 days now of where it's coming underneath the bottom Bollinger Band. It hasn't been able to break above it. Okay. This would suggest that there is not currently, there's not currently enough buyers above this middle Bollinger Band to make it go higher. Okay. And so what you would see is there's a rejection here, and it would suggest that we are headed lower. Okay. That we're going to come down. Okay. Now, if I get rid of the Bollinger Bands, what I want you to see is that the possibility then is that we come down, we retest this 431 level, and we'll retest this 431 level, come down, right? You've got your bottom here that really bottomed out and touched that there. We could come down, touch this, and then continue higher, or we could come down, touch this, and break lower, okay? But right now, what this would seem to suggest is that we are headed down into the downward direction, okay? And there's just not enough buyers yet ready, confident enough to come in to drive this higher, okay? That's what that would seem to suggest. Now, I've seen them come down, and I'll show you, I'll move this up. So this was your resistance before. It's holding that resistance. I've seen it consolidate along here for a day or two and then blast higher, right? Let me see if I can find a spot where it did that before. Maybe I can't find that on SPY. We'll see how it behaved right there around the Bollinger Bands. Came up, came through. Yeah, every time it's come over the middle, it's come back down, touched the bottom, and not, yeah, I would say it's a pretty good bet that we are headed back down 426, 427 area. And I would buy puts for Friday on that, and I would see how cheap I could get them. I would try and get them cheap, but yeah, I would suggest that we are headed into. So this is technically here. If you're looking at Elliott wave, you're looking at your A, your B, and this would be your C leg down to a new low. That I would say is possible. Okay. And I would say it's more possible now because your big, strong companies have all reported already. They held things up. And you have to make sure you realize that like Amazon and Apple are like the biggest companies in SPY. They're the most valuable companies in SPY. They make up a big chunk of the market. So when those companies go up, they're going to bring SPY up with it. They're going to bring QQQ up with it. So most of these indexes are going to come up as a result, okay, of this. But the companies that we're going to get reporting, you've got Home Depot and Lowe's reporting. You've got a lot of manufacturing, a lot of home good stuff. A lot of manufacturing. DuPont is the big one that I'm looking at, and if DuPont has a rough quarter, it's going to bring everything down. And if Disney has a rough quarter, Disney will bring the Dow Jones down, and that'll bring the rest of these down. Okay, so really concerned about Disney a lot. They're if this is going to continue forward up, we have to have Disney report something good. Like it's weird. All of America is hinging on the most American company. That's one of the oldest. The other one is Coca-Cola reports later in the week, but I'm expecting their earnings to be good because we're Americans and we're fat. So really, I'm expecting that. So with all that being sort of said, I would say with all that stuff kind of being said that, I'm looking for it to come down, retest this area, and then continue to go back up. Okay. And this is what makes this whole thing so damn tricky. Let me go back and stop screen sharing. This is what makes this whole thing so damn tricky is what makes this difficult, okay, is you have to understand we are going into a recession and we are going into the Fed raising rates. Believe it or not, the S&P 500 has always outperformed. It's always given a positive gain when we have raised rates and even in the face of a recession, okay? There's always been a positive turnaround. And the other thing that you have to realize, there's so much money sitting on the sidelines, literally waiting for this thing to crash so it can come in. There are people like foaming at the mouth for this to crash so that they can buy the crash. They don't even want to buy the dip. They want to buy the crash. And so when are those people going to consider this thing has crashed, And the crazy thing is like you're good, and when it happens, to buy the bottom, the real bottom, is you're gonna have to be fast, because last time the bottom lasted like 2 weeks. It was like gone. So we're waiting to figure out where that money is at. All right. So and where and when they're coming, like how that shit is going to happen. So a lot of me is really trying to not like blow my wad before those moves really start to set in. I'm going to be really a lot more careful. Okay. Now, that being said, I don't normally speak about crypto, but we need to talk about crypto and specifically Shiba Inu. Okay. That's the other thing that I am looking at. I've always had kind of a vested interest in Shiba Inu because to me, it seemed like a trader's token. Okay. Has like almost an infinite float. And so really interest is the only thing that drives it up. And that interest is fairly easy to gauge. Either one, you can look and see how much it's being searched on Google. Like if you can get Google Analytics and just say how many times has Shiba been searched this week. And then the other thing that I'm beginning to see is a large amount of videos being produced for Shiba Inu and talking about the good things that are coming, the catalysts that are coming. Now, does that mean Shiba Inu is going to go from being worth like 2/10 of a penny to being worth, it's even less than that. It's like 2/100 of a penny to being worth a penny? I doubt it as of yet. I feel like they're probably going to have to burn a lot more tokens, but it has dethroned Bitcoin as the most popular cryptocurrency. So I would say there's a pretty good chance you're coming into some nice moves and where it can finally start to gobble up one of those zeros, get a little closer to a penny. So I would say you're getting there. There's a lot of guys putting a lot of attention into burning things, and there is a Shiba Inu video game that when you purchase things in the video game, it burns Shiba Inu coins. Okay. So what they're doing is they're shrinking that float. All right. So you're shrinking the float of Shiba Inu. So that is there's a lot of possibility there with Shiba Inu. I'm actually kind of excited about the opportunity that it presents, and especially in the middle of sort of the end of your crypto cycle. So here's I guess here's hoping that we can do something with that. I profited like over 1,000% last year off of Shiba Inu, and so I was very happy with that. So, anyway, at this point, I'm kind of getting tired. So, you guys just pretend I said some sort of catchphrase and have a good night.